Alright, so we begin this project, guys, by me just cutting this 4-piece of wood that I glued together of oak on the table saw. Now my blade isn't big enough to cut through it in one stroke, so what I do is I cut as deep as I can, flip it over, line it up with the crosscut sled, and then take another slice. After I mounted it on the lathe, I then started using my roughing gouge to rough out the shape and just get it nice and round. Now in near all my wood turning projects, I actually stick to just 3 wood turning chisels. The parting gouge, the roughing gouge and the bowl gouge, and I find this does most projects for me. So I'm just making a few indications using the parting gauge here, just to show where it starts and finishes. And then I'm using the bowl gouge to cut out the shape I want. And this project is actually great for just practicing your lathe and getting used to the tools, and you can really do whatever freeform shape you want. When I'm wood turning, I actually like to go up to a really fine grit. So I start with 60 and actually work my way all the way up to 600, because it's so easy to sand when you're turning, and I just find the finished project just is so worth it. So after I just go through this bit of sanding, what I actually do is pick up some of the wood chips from when I was turning and rest it under, and that gives like a sheen to the wood. So the finish I'm applying is just the usual bud, linseed oil and beeswax mix. So I just apply it on with a paper towel, and I use paper towels because that way if the wood grabs onto it, it won't catch or anything and it'll just rip, so it's quite safe. Afterwards I just buff it with a new paper towel, and this gives a really nice sheen, kind of a satin glow to the wood. Alright, so now I'm just cutting the base for this. So the way I cut a circle is I'm screwing on a piece of oak onto my crosscut sled, and I get it to about the square of the diameter that I want. So the finished diameter is about the width and length of the square. So I just begin by cutting off all the sharp corners and then cut all the finer corners, and then eventually what I do is actually hold the piece of wood and twist it around the blade, and that makes it a perfect circle. Now in this shot, guys, it looks like my hands are really close to the blade, but I can guarantee it or not, they're still at least 3 inches, which obviously if you're between a fence would be quite dangerous. So I'm not going to recommend doing this. If you feel uncomfortable, just don't do it. It turned out pretty well. I'm happy enough with it. Sorry for the quality not being that good this week. It won't be like that next week. But it kind of turned out like something I really don't want to mention, because I know kids watch this, but yeah, it's quite bad. Look, it looks like something else. So anyway, please comment, rate and subscribe. Thanks for watching, and remember, a clean shop is a safe shop.